Hello, and welcome to In Case You Missed It, Black Audacity Style, where we will bring you up to speed today on last week's news and hot topics that you may have missed. I'm LaWanda Morris, CEO of Black Audacity Magazine, and your host for this evening. Now, today, I'll be discussing highlights from last week, including things you should definitely know about before voting this November. So buckle up and pour yourself a drink, grab a snack, and let's get into it. In political and celebrity news, with the tensions and negativity that has been over our country in general, this election season we must all remember to thank those who did the work, who got their hands dirty and lifted our country to the heights that it has reached today. On Wednesday, September the 18th, the brilliant, talented, and trailblazing Black women who helped launch the first man into the Earth's orbit and then onto the moon were finally honored in Washington, D.C. with the Congressional Gold Medal of Honor. Katherine Johnson, Dorothy Vaughan, Mary Jackson, and engineer Christine Darden, the women whose lives the movie Hidden Figures was based on, were a group of Black female scientists and mathematicians known back then as human computers, hired by NASA to work in the Langley Research Center during the space race, where their handwritten notes were the key to America's success in reaching outer space and so much more. While they lived great lives and built even greater legacies because of their gender and their skin color, their contributions were never fully given the full recognition they deserved until now. In 2019, Texas Representative Bernice Johnson signed into law the Hidden Figures Congressional Gold Medal Act. It directed Congress to honor them and other unrecognized women for their work with NASA with the Congressional Gold Medal. Now, have you ever heard of the New Hampshire? Have you ever heard of the New Hampshire Libertarian Party? Well, neither had I until last week when they posted to Twitter on Sunday the 15th a post that read, "Anyone who murders Kamala Harris would be an American hero." That's a quote. This came after the alleged second attempt to assassinate Donald Trump, when this political party thought it would be smart to post multiple times where they openly endorsed the assassination of VP Harris in a gross misinterpretation of the Second Amendment, claiming the point of the amendment was to shoot tyrannical politicians such as Harris and Abraham Lincoln. So let me get this straight. They condoned the murder of the future first Black woman president and the president who freed Black enslaved people in America. Believe them when they tell you who they are the first time. As you can imagine, the backlash from these posts was swift and severe enough that they took a majority of those posts down, claiming that they were the most oppressed minority group and doubling down on their hate. Cry me a river. They also took down their website and leadership board. Cowards much? I think so. Also, in last week, VP Harris has continued to ride the momentum of her presidential debate, where she kicked Donald Trump's butt, and has helped to build anticipation for the vice presidential debate in 2 weeks. Whereas Trump continues to cry and whine and panic as the polls turn against him and politicians, and finally some of the media tear holes into all of his lies, while his rantings and cognitive decline become more extreme and obvious. It can be easy to forget just how dangerous Trump and his lackeys are. Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, who we love, says it beautifully with her examination of Project 2025, slamming any denials of Trump's involvement, as he is mentioned 312 times in the document itself. Now, how can you deny that? So stay tuned. At the end of this episode, you're in for a treat with a highlight from a recent congressional hearing where Mark Curran from Project 2025 defended slavery and was destroyed by Congressman Greg Kaiser from Austin, Texas. The more we learn about Project 2025, the more important it becomes to keep this plan from ever becoming a reality by Donald Trump, so that our future generations can grow up in a free and truly free America. In breaking news, we all recently learned of the actual damage that Trump's abortion ban has had on our country. Candy Miller, a 41-year-old mother of 3, suffered in silence in front of her children for days, afraid to seek medical attention for her abortion-related complications, because of Georgia's dangerous abortion laws put into place by Governor Kemp and the Republican-led Georgia legislature after Trump overturned Roe v. Wade. Candy passed away in the bed next to her husband and 3-year-old daughter. Can you imagine that? Also, Amber Nicole Thurman, a 28-year-old mother and medical assistant, bled out and suffered for 20 hours in the Piedmont Henry Hospital in Stockbridge, Georgia, after abortion-related complications as well. Doctors felt forced to not immediately treat her and instead called their lawyers as they faced fear being imprisoned due to Georgia's laws, all while Nicole's organs were failing, and they finally decided to operate on her. Her heart failed on the operating table. These tragic deaths took a mother, a wife, a daughter, a friend from those who treasured them. In both of these instances, these were painful and completely preventable deaths caused by the overturning of Roe v. Wade by Donald Trump and the Republican Party. With election night less than 50 days away, the senseless hate, violence, and death needs to stop. And we need to move into the future with Kamala Harris as our next president of the United States of America and bring back the joy and hope and promise of America. So please make sure you are registered to vote at vote.gov. Make a plan and then vote. Remember to subscribe, like, share, and comment what you think down below in the comments, and I will see you in next week's episode of In Case You Missed It. Stick around for some exciting video clips that you do not want to miss.
Good morning. Mr. Kerkorian, you're an advisory board member for Project 2025, correct? Yes or no?
Yes.
Mr. Kerkorian, in addition to being a Project 2025 board member, you also run the Center for Immigration Studies. You've done that for decades, where you spread and disseminated writings of people like Kevin McDonald, John Friend, and Jared Taylor, correct?
We used to have an email service that distributed links to
their writings. That's right.
And the New York Times and all kinds of other.
Correct. And yes, I know that you're aware that you spread the writings of these three along with others, but these three are egregious examples. McDonald is the editor of a white nationalist journal. Your organization, as you said, disseminated his writings. He blamed Jewish people for the deaths of millions of people in the 20th century. John Friend, who you just said you disseminated his writings, is an infamous Holocaust denier. You spread his writings. Jared Taylor stated, quote, and I quote, this horrible quote, that when black people are left on their own, civilization disappears, end quote. That's what he said. You, a Project 2025,
you distributed only.
You only distributed. Correct. I understand. I'm reclaiming my time, Mr. Chairman. Correct. You only disseminated writings from multiple white nationalists. Reclaiming my time. I'm going to ask you a question, sir. I'm going to ask you the next question.
About immigration.
Reclaiming my time, Mr. Chairman. I'd like that time back. So you, a Project 2025 board member, you're stating you did not disseminate, for example, Mr. Taylor, Mr. McDonald, or Mr. Friend's specific quotes here, but you just continuously disseminated these white nationalists' writing. One time is a problem. When you do it over and over and over again, it's a pattern. But I'll stop asking about the things that you and your organization disseminated. I'll ask you, Mr. Kerkorian, and I know you're a Project 2025 board member, your recent quote from a few years ago where you said, quote, Haiti is so screwed up because it wasn't colonized long enough, end quote. Is that correct? Did you say that?
I'm happy to talk about that all you want.
You did say it. That's right.
I wrote it, yes.
You said that. Haiti was colonized as a slave plantation colony. The French colonized Haiti so that slaves would work on plantations. The end of colonization in Haiti was so that the people there would no longer be slaves. So what you're saying, and I read your quote, and anybody watching this online should go read it. What you're saying is it would have been good if they'd stayed colonized, which means that it would have been good if they had stayed enslaved by the French.
In the long run, it's one of the
in the long run,
no,
people shouldn't have been enslaved a single day. I'm reclaiming my time, Chairman.
And they had every right. They had every right to throw the.
What French you said is that you would have wanted them. Reclaiming my time. I'm talking now.
They would have been freed 30 years later, and they would have been in the same situation.
You're saying you wanted 30 more years of slavery in Haiti. Reclaiming my time.
I did not.
You just said it. Honestly, it adds up. You said that they would have benefited from the French influence.
In
the French were the ones.
the people in Martinique and
Reclaiming my
Guadeloupe
time, Mr. Chairman.
who were
I'd like my time
also
back. Please,
enslaved.
my time. This is my time, Mr. Corkorian.
They are much better off.
Honestly,
now
this all
than
starts
was.
to add up. This all starts to add up. You continue to do this, disseminate writings of white nationalists, try to rationalize, for example, Haiti being colonized for 30 more years. You're a Project 2025 board member. In Project 2025, I couldn't figure out why on page 583, it advocates for not allowing racial disparity or gender disparity to be considered discrimination legally anymore. In Project 2025, it eliminates a 50-year-old executive order that prohibits discrimination in federal jobs. On page 586, Project 2025 advocates for Donald Trump to allow businesses to discriminate based on religious beliefs. Before today, I couldn't understand why Trump's Project 2025 could advocate for ending civil rights protections. Why would Trump's Project 2025, I know there's crazy stuff in here, but I couldn't get why it would advocate for ending protections against discrimination.
When conservatives launched their colossal attack on constitutional rights to abortion, it marked the first phase of a broader objective to end reproductive freedom in this country entirely. Their latest efforts to revive an When conservatives launched their colossal attack on constitutional rights to abortion, it marked the first phase of a broader objective to end reproductive freedom in this country entirely. Their latest efforts to revive an obscenity law that is more than 150 years old makes clear their end game: to pass a nationwide abortion ban. If resurrected under the next Republican presidential term, the 1873 Comstock Act would go even further than the Dobbs Supreme Court decision that overturned Roe v. Wade. Not content with just restricting abortion access in many states, this effort is a brazen attempt to rein in states that continue to protect women's reproductive freedom. Now, it's worth noting that Project 2025 distorts the original intent of the Comstock Act, which has never been used to prosecute abortion care, but I'm going to get into that shortly. The Christian legal group that filed the Dobbs lawsuit, the Alliance Defending Freedom, is a prominent advisor to Project 2025, which explicitly cites its goal of using the Comstock Act to go after medication abortion. In Chapter 17, which focuses on the Department of Justice, Project 2025 directs the Department of Justice to enforce the Comstock Act. And I'm here on page 562. It says, following the Supreme Court's decision in Dobbs, there is no federal prohibition on the enforcement of this statute. The Department of Justice in the next conservative administration should therefore announce its intent to enforce federal law against providers and distributors of such pills, end quote. Notably, this section is authored by Gene Hamilton, a lawyer and former Justice Department staffer under the Trump administration. That's relevant because Donald Trump keeps on saying he's got nothing to do with Project 2025. Now, you might wonder why these far-right extremists are targeting medication abortion, which involves taking pills to end a pregnancy in the privacy of one's home. The abortion pill, mifepristone, is only effective during the early stages of pregnancy, up to around 10 weeks, meaning it cannot be used for second or third trimester pregnancies. When Republicans push the narrative that women are aborting fully developed babies, that is simply a lie. According to the healthcare nonprofit KFF, late-term abortions are exceedingly rare, representing just 1% of all abortions in the United States, and typically only occur in extreme circumstances. In reality, the most common form of abortion care in the United States is not surgical, it's medication. And this method has predictably surged since the passage of near-total abortion bans in a handful of states following the Dobbs ruling. Its availability has helped to prevent an even worse reproductive health crisis by reducing wait times in blue states that have become overwhelmed by the influx of out-of-state patients coming in to seek abortion care. Now, by targeting this common form of abortion, conservatives are effectively imposing a de facto national abortion ban, attacking the last remaining safe and legal option in the many states that have outlawed surgical abortions. If the Comstock Act is allowed to be enforced in this way, the Christian conservative movement would cement its control over women's reproductive health choices, over a woman's most intimate decisions concerning her health and her body. It's also important to understand the timing of the effort to revive this dormant law. They're pushing it at a time when abortion bans are widely unpopular, even amongst most Republican voters. In fact, according to an AP NORC poll from this past June, a solid majority of Americans, 79%, oppose Congress passing nationwide bans on legal abortion. And when you break that number down along partisan lines, 64% of Republicans oppose it, as do 91% of Democrats. But by relying on the Comstock Act, Republicans can bypass the need to go through Congress. Their strategy is especially egregious considering that the Comstock Act was never intended to apply to legal abortions and has never been interpreted by the courts or by Congress to be used as a blanket criminalization of abortion access. In fact, the Comstock Act reads, quote, "Every obscene, lewd, lascivious, indecent, filthy, or vile article, matter, thing, device, or substance is declared to be non-mailable matter," and once precluded the mailing of items that were, quote, "intended for the prevention or conception or procuring of an abortion." Now, prior to Roe, this puritanical law was historically understood as applying only to unlawful abortions, and several judicial rulings pointed to the lack of any congressional interpretation on this particular issue. There are, in fact, many legal uses of medical abortion, including to protect the health of the mother, which means it's nearly impossible to determine the intent of someone who is mailing or prescribing abortion pills, therefore making it difficult to prosecute. Which is why the law has never been actually used to prosecute medication abortion or the mailing of abortion-related materials. Roe v. Wade would later make this law's abortion provision entirely obsolete by establishing a constitutional right to abortion. But under this, Project 2025, violators of the Comstock Act would face up to 5 years in prison for a first-time offense and up to 10 years for a second offense. Furthermore, a wide range of people and entities could be targeted, from physicians and pharmacists to the U.S. Postal Service to FedEx, because Project 2025 urges the Justice Department to go after, quote, "providers and distributors of medication abortion." A weaponized DOJ could also interpret the relic law more broadly, potentially criminalizing not just medication abortion, but the materials used in surgical abortions. So ultimately, the plan is simple: weaponize the Department of Justice to advance an extremist agenda that is not supported by the vast majority of Americans. When speaking to the New York Times, Jonathan Mitchell, a key architect of Project 2025, openly admitted that bypassing Congress and therefore the democratic process is essentially their goal, saying, quote, "We don't need a federal ban when we have Comstock on the books." The quiet part has been said out loud.
Well, that's all for now. I hope you have enjoyed today's segment of In Case You Missed It, Black Audacity Style. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, like, and turn on those notifications so that you can see more Black Audacity Magazine YouTube content show up in your feed. I'm LaWanda Morris, CEO of Black Audacity Magazine, and we are unapologetically and unambiguously Black Audacity. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you back here next week. Please stick around for a brief word from our sponsors. Thank you so much to our sponsor, Black Skin Beauty. Black Skin Beauty is that black don't crack kind of beauty, y'all, that we all want, and now that we all can have with Black Skin Beauty's new youthful regimen. Black Skin Beauty can help you get your skin all the way together. Black Skin Beauty offers a revolutionary 3-step youthful skin regimen to help your skin look and feel younger than ever before. Check out their website at www.blackskinbeauty.com. That's BLKSKNBEAUTY.com to enter for a chance to win free products and to get 10% off. Black Skin Beauty, that black don't crack kind of beauty. Check them out on Instagram today at Black Skin Beauty.